Hello, hello. There has been a lot of interruptions. There's also a little background noise from some construction over there somewhere. But I am in a little community garden-ish space near where I live. And I have my little setup going. So I'm going to be reading some cards, seeing what comes up from Spirit. There has been this guy who's been coming when I'm here. He has a camera, so he knows when I'm here. But he's a little annoyed that I like to be here. It was really overgrown, and there's obviously leaves and things everywhere. These steps that I'm sitting on were all covered in leaves, and it was dusty, and so I cleaned it up a little bit, made my little path so I could access it, and he did not like that. But yeah, there's no property lines on stolen land, so unfortunately a witch could. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. Enough of the silliness. I did want to bring up a couple of things, just some synchronicities that you may be seeing at this time. I'm part of this journey with you, so I'm just going to bring up some things that I've noticed since the last reading that I gave that I thought would be worth mentioning. I've been seeing 777 and sevens all day long today. It's currently February 2nd, and then when I sat down, some hummingbirds came and were clashing in the trees. So hummingbirds could be significant, or maybe just even bickering or just silly arguments that really aren't relevant, especially considering everything going on in the world right now, pettiness. There's really no point of being petty right now unless you're being intentional about it. Being petty to your neighbors or being petty to people is just kind of silly. And I mean, honestly, I'm a little guilty of that, because if someone gives me shit, I'm giving it right back. I'm like, what are we doing here? What is this about? Are you just angry? But anyway, that's me. So yeah, I won't be lighting the candles just because I told him I wouldn't, but I did do that. We're just gonna pretend that's not happening. But I basically grew up in the woods. I'm not a super city girl, even though I've lived in cities for about a decade now. I grew up in the woods, so I know how to be responsible about these kinds of things, and I know what precautions to take. I have some water with me just in case. But yeah, anyway, again, let's just get into it. I don't exactly know where I want to put my camera. By the way, if you haven't seen me before, my name's Olivia. I am an intuitive reader. I don't think that's gonna work either. But just bear with me. We're troubleshooting some things right now. I haven't done this in this spot yet, so we're making it happen. I think I can just... That's not bad. This might work. Okay. We'll see. Hi. Okay, let's go ahead. Didn't really leave myself much room to sit, but it's okay. Okay, I think this is not bad. Okay, just out of respect for nature and animal spirits, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the animal oracle deck first. These guys, I don't know if you can see that, but I love this deck. The artwork is very pretty. There are quite a bit of interference sounds right now, and I think I actually want to sit down here. Okay, so let's get into it. Oh. We're a little rusty today. But you know what? That's okay. I think that there's like a big need for authenticity in online spaces, and so a lot of my intention with doing this is just I'm having a good time. I'm here to hang out with you and just do a general reading for the collective. And it might not be for everyone. That's just unrealistic, but I do think that if you want to get something out of this reading, you can. So I'm just going to leave it at that and we'll get started. This candle's kind of in my way. Apparently we're playing How Many Times Can Livia Say Let's Get Started. Alright. Okay, so Animal Oracle. I also have been seeing a lot of big bumblebees. So you might be seeing bees. Bees could be significant. I wish I knew more of the types of plants that were over here, but I did find Amanita muscaria over here, and that was pretty exciting. I was probably annoying about that. I harvested some of them, and I really love foraging in general. I just kind of always have. It was something that I grew up doing. So I was pumped. And I dehydrated those girls, and I did eat a little bit of one of them. Not today, but maybe a month ago I tried one, and I felt a little weird. Definitely a little sedative and like just introspective. Okay. I've been practicing shuffling for jumpers, but this deck is so big, I just really can't with that. They're hard enough to shuffle this way as it is. Also, I'm sorry if that background noise is too loud. I may have to not use this reading. I don't know. Ooh, crazy hairs. Alright. Spirit said this is the last shuffle. Okay. So I usually take two from this deck, and these two kind of flew out at me. Alright. Interesting. I may still take a bottom card. Yeah, this one keeps showing up. So we're going to go ahead and get three. So the first animal spirit that's showing up right now is the eagle. The theme of the eagle is mastery. Here's the image for you. But the card says, you are on a spiritual journey beyond the sky. Let go of the past and soar. You are guided by the winds of spirit. Your wisdom inspires the world. So this is definitely heavy air element energy. So you could be an Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. But yeah, you may be embarking on a spiritual journey, or you have been on a spiritual journey. You could be, if you're here, you're probably a spiritually oriented person. If not, welcome. It's funny because like and this may be controversial because I do respect the fact that people are atheist or agnostic, but magic is all around us, and we're all on a spiritual journey. Like, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, and whether it aligns with you or not, you have an astral aspect of existing. And you don't have to work with that energy. You don't have to, like, intentionally exist in that space. But I guess this is just a moment of me inviting you to do so if you aren't comfortable with that. Because, I mean, why not? Spiritual growth is good. So, I don't care if I'm the bad guy for encouraging it. And maybe that resonates with you. Anyway, and it really could, because this next card is the humpback whale card. Sorry, there's some wax on this. But the theme of the humpback whale is singer. So you could be a singer, or you could feel like you're singing a new song in a metaphorical sense. But the humpback whale is encouraging you at this time. It's encouraging you at this time to sing healing songs for the world, which is a great message for right now. Your inner navigation always guides you. Nothing can stop you or keep you from your goal. Align with your purpose and the power in your soul. So it's a lot of like sharing your gifts and not being afraid to use your voice to heal others or heal yourself. Maybe you've been holding back. The song lyric, it's from Florence and the Machine, one of the greats, I think is the song, but the lyric is, I kept a scream inside my chest. The rest of it is a little intense, but just maybe you have a scream inside your chest that you need to let out, and holding intensity like that in your body, like, does get exhausting. Like, somatically, maybe you need a release at this time, or it might be cathartic to just howl at the moon. It is, we're in like a post full moon shadow period right now. The full moon was at its peak yesterday. So you could be feeling that energy, or just kind of grappling with the intensity of a full moon, because they usually do stir up some things. Not quite like a retrograde, but in a way that they are potent if you pay attention. And maybe even if you aren't into paying attention. And so these are very dynamic cards, the humpback whale and the eagle. I think that's kind of goes for, it speaks for itself. But the shadow aspect card is the cougar or mountain lion, which I find interesting because there was just a mountain lion spotted in San Francisco. That's where I'm at. And the city apparently tranquilized the mountain lion and scooped it up and took it to a safer environment. I think that was just kind of the ethical choice. I mean, the poor baby was probably scared, but I have been feeling like a lot of feline energy with this Leo snow moon. So just wanted to bring that up. Just kind of cute. I don't know. I saw videos of the little cougar running around the city, and it's a little odd. I've also seen coyotes over here, though, so I mean, we're encroaching on their environment. And to be honest, humans aren't very good at sharing, fortunately. But the cougar is asking you to be assertive, to channel that voice that you have inside of you. And don't be too cautious about the way that you come across, because you know yourself. Hopefully, if you're here, you know yourself. And even if you don't feel like you necessarily know yourself particularly, we're all learning about ourselves every day and we're all growing together. But the Cougar card says, in silence you find power. Claim your leadership role and take action. So it could be asking you to kind of sit with that voice or sit with yourself and kind of process or integrate the message that is coming through within you. And once you've sat with it, you'll know which action to take, is what's coming through. And you know where to go and you know what to do. You have the courage and confidence to succeed. So whatever's heavy on your mind or on your heart lately, it's there for a reason. Like, you're not just feeling some type of way if you resonate with this. It's not just because, and I know, like, personally in my life, a lot of people like to kind of push me to the side or tell me I don't know what I'm talking about or gaslight me about things. And we're just going to revert to the let them theory motto of just let them. They want to be that way, then go ahead, but don't let it dim your shine. Like, don't let it discourage you, because you're confident and be courageous, because you're going to be successful in whatever this pursuit is. And it could feel like it's a new journey or something that's not totally comfortable, and that's okay. Like, in general, with the general energy and themes of the world, it's not super intuitive to be comfortable all the time right now, or ever, really, no matter what's going on in the world. Like, comfort is nice and it's important to slow down and take in just receiving, but it's not always the case. Like, we're multidimensional beings. Kind of goes along with that astral aspect that I mentioned. But next up, I do kind of want to get some clarifying cards. This is a fortune teller's oracle deck. I've seen a lot of this deck just be super positive, and I love that. I like to be a positive person. I have been up since 2 a.m. today because I couldn't go back to sleep, but I did work my day job. But you know what? We're putting our best foot forward. And I don't want to take a nap because then I won't sleep tonight. So, but anyway, in my practice, we don't do toxic positivity. We're not everything's love and light always, or else, because that's just not realistic. That's not real. So, oops. Okay. Wow, I'm already like feeling a lot better. It's a little grouchy earlier. My job is pretty intense, my day job, so sometimes it gets to me a little bit, but I try not to make it anybody else's problem. Even though I'm sharing that right now, but you know what? We're being vulnerable. I'm being vulnerable. You're welcome to be vulnerable with me in the comments, or, you know, with yourself about this message. Like, there's nothing wrong with a little vulnerability. And in fact, that's part of what makes connections so strong, or like fosters strong connections, is being authentic and being vulnerable with each other and yourself. Okay. We're gonna do 2 more. 1 and 2. Okay. Actually not super familiar with this deck. I don't know what all the cards are. So I'm kind of interested in what's coming through. The Resurrected Dream card was coming up. I saw it a couple times shuffling. It was just on the bottom. So you could even be taking a journey that you've been meaning to take for a long time, or taking some new steps in a direction that you've been considering or pursuing that maybe were feeling a little uncomfortable to you. And maybe you're working through that energy and finding comfort in being uncomfortable, which is honestly like such a beautiful thing. And like, if you're gonna prioritize comfort like that, like, maybe challenge yourself. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable sometimes. Like, I like the phrase, I actually really like the phrase, it takes pressure to make a diamond. So maybe you're just in the pressure cooker. We're still in the snake year, which is a 9 year. So as that's wrapping up, maybe you just feel like the intensity of the fire horse year coming in, and it's just on the horizon. So that could be playing a role in your energetic field. I also saw there's like a significant planetary alignments going on right now. I don't know the specifics because while I do kind of keep up with astrology, it's not necessarily my jam, and I don't pretend to know a whole lot about astrology, even if I know a decent amount. And I can read my birth chart, and I know a lot about my birth chart. I'm not offering that or trying to convince anyone that I am stepping in that realm, because that's I'm into divination. It's a different playing field. But anyway, let's go ahead and see what this deck has for us. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Angels. Thank you, Santa Muerte. Thank you, Bridget. Let's go ahead and see. Thank you, Angels. We've got growing power. Yes, you're in a phase where you're growing. And maybe you're having these growing pains. You could be feeling maybe a little fatigue, a little achy joints, just, I don't know. Sometimes people call it ascension symptoms. And you could see it that way if you'd like to. But it very much is like this expansion that's coming in. So I think the overall theme so far is just a call to be more intentional and not to sell yourself short. Like, people exist on a spectrum, and we're all dynamic beings. So do with that information as you will. And if this isn't resonating for you at all, that's totally okay. This just might not be your reading, but also I invite you to just kind of explore these concepts. Like, it doesn't have to be something that's super in your face, or like, you don't have to be like on the edge of your seat. Like, maybe it is super comfortable for you to just kind of be learning. I don't know. Everybody's different. But at this time, I wanted to do Lenormand, but I think we'll go in with tarot. I'm not as familiar with Lenormand cards. I have dabbled a little bit and felt called to like branch out in that way, so I do have a couple Lenormand card decks, but at this time I think it's already been a little choppy. So let's just go into what I know with the tarot. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Angels. Please help us expand and clarify these themes of growing power and self-mastery and being on this spiritual journey. Okay. Breath work could also be significant. I've been feeling kind of not pushed, or I'd say called is more of an accurate word, but kind of just inclined to do that for myself. And my therapist has also been encouraging me to try different breathwork exercises. I also usually would do Qigong before this reading, or before my readings in general, but today I think I'm gonna do it later. Last night I did a little Qigong under the full moon on my roof with like a little, impromptu like little altar set up. That was really nice. And just, it felt so good. Like after the Qigong session, I kind of went into some like soft yoga, just kind of flowing with my body, some like intuitive movements. So that could be something that you could find value in right now, or like just something that could kind of soothe your nervous system. That is one thing that I want to try and encourage or offer in this space or to this collective, that just nervous system regulation is so important, especially right now. Obviously, like with the themes of not always needing to be comfortable, nervous system regulation is not always the easiest task, but slowing down and feeling your breath within your body and kind of working through that in a somatic sense can kind of transfer things out. And Qigong is wonderful for that, because you're moving your Qi and kind of exhaling what you don't need to hold on to or what no longer serves you, and then like inhaling spirit and abundance and health, and just kind of out with the old and with the new kind of thing. Let's go ahead and shuffle one more time. See what this has got for us. Spirit, please give us some tarot to clarify this message about growing power. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, angels. Thank you, Santa Muerte. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. 6 of Wands. Wands are the fire element. Wands are also the card of action. I know that fire energy is very prominent right now with planetary alignments and positioning, as well as just feeling like the Leo full moon is going to be fiery, but also icy with the like snow moon aspect and it being winter still. So you could just kind of feel like a intensity that you're trying to balance at this time. But the 6 of Wands is showing that there's kind of like the microcosm of fulfillment. So maybe if you kind of zoom in and put your blinders on, like life's pretty good. Like I'd say last year was a lot about tending to yourself, at least for me, but also in general, I feel like it was a lot about kind of taking, there's a word, it's right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. Just taking stock of energies and your needs, and kind of reflecting on your journey so far in this life. And you've put in the work, like you've done a lot for yourself, and maybe just take a moment to acknowledge that. You could do a little like self-hug and some like breathing. It really helps to kind of soothe anxieties and soothe yourself, to really slow the exhale. If you purse your lips and just kind of control the exhale, I find that very healing personally, but I'm not the only one. That's a pretty common thing in breath work. Also, this tarot deck is the Veiled Tarot, so it's usually like a microcosm, macrocosm comparison, or like a duality of the energies for each card. And in this card, you kind of have that like Miss America moment, like pageant queen, feminine energy could be significant, but then there's also this macrocosm of a bit of like a war-like energy, which I think is very significant for what's going on right now. It does look like victory, so Spirit's just saying maybe acknowledge the small wins or victories that you have co-created, but also maybe you just feel pretty victorious. Like, despite the odds, like you're here and you're giving it your all, or you're giving it what you've got. And that's something to be proud of. But Six of Wands is like the recent past energy. So we'll see where we're going from there. Six of Swords. Okay. So this is giving kind of like a analog versus like digital or like technical modern comparison. This plane, you could be going on a trip. Spirit could be taking you to new places, having new experiences. I'm kind of branching out this week and doing some new things. I'll probably talk about those in the next reading. But I'm pretty excited about a few things this week. So maybe you're in a similar energy, or you are encouraged at this time to kind of branch out and do things that you normally wouldn't do, with discernment as always. Like, you don't need to feel pushed to do anything, but you know, it could be as small as just thinking about something from a new perspective. But that's the present. It is giving like an openness, but also with boundaries. Your discernment has leveled up, and you could be playing with that right now, and in an energy of integrating lessons over the past year to a decade, maybe even longer. Yeah, that's the present. Swords are air energy, and it's like a suit of the mind. So this could be things that haven't come into fruition yet, or things are challenging you in a new way. But a lot of the energy in the present moment is mental. Like, going along with the Six of Wands, you could have had a moment where you peaked, or a moment recently where you really felt satisfied with the actions you've taken, or there's clarity in how you've moved through energies in the past. And now you're looking forward and moving through this new journey while you're growing your power. And for the near future, we have 10 of Swords. Okay. So this is something to be aware of. It comes off as a bit of a warning. The 10 of Swords is usually depicted by someone with 10 swords stuck into them. And in some decks, the person with the swords, usually there's either like a disillusionment or like a detachment from that. So you could be very detached at this moment, kind of free flowing through things. The message was coming through that you're kind of being met with some discomforts, or like people are kind of pushing back, or the world is like pushing back at you in ways. And it's coming off as a bit of a test energy. And it doesn't have to be a test. I feel like that's a pretty rigid word to use, but what's going on here is maybe basically there's a woman, and it seems like she's achieved some social status or elevation, and it doesn't necessarily resonate with her. And personally, in my life, the times that have been the most spiritually impactful, or when things like after a tower moment or something, where like I was kind of forced to into a hermit mode to kind of go within and harness my abilities or channel some gifts. Or just kind of sit with myself in spirit and really connect on a deeper level. And so you may want to consider trying to balance that now before it becomes a problem, or before it becomes something that takes you off guard or kind of throws you off balance. But there's also like the detachment aspect where like you don't need to worry about that. I'm not pushing you into fear or anything like that. I'm just saying like make sure you're being authentic with yourself and reasonable about where you're at. Maybe try to do some grounding exercises. Kind of touched on that already, so I won't go too deep. But yeah, the card is a little gruesome. I'm gonna show it anyway. But yeah, she's at this like extravagant, like elite party. People are laughing, but honestly, like the facial expressions of the people at the party, they don't look like they're the most approachable or like inviting. Like they're laughing, but there's kind of like this snooty aspect that I don't know. The main girl in the picture, she kind of just seems like she's like, yeah. So like you could be in an environment that just you've outgrown, and or you're outgrowing in an environment right now, and like that's okay. I can definitely resonate with that with my day job. It's something that we're seeing where it goes right now. Okay. Let's get some clarity on the Ten of Swords. Six of Pentacles. It's like a change of hands. There could be some material changes, so like the physical realm is shifting from what you've been comfortable in or what you've known recently. Spirit's also saying spend intentionally, not from like a scarcity point of like hoarding or fear mongering in that way, but like just be intentional and make sure that you're providing for yourself in a way that makes sense for you. and those you love. Like, but definitely put yourself first at this time, since you are growing and you are in this space. Like, it's always good to consider others, but there are times where it just can't be helped. Like, you have to move for you at the end of the day. You're living for you. But here's that Six of Pentacles. We also have 666, so sixes could be significant. Also, just 666 is a number of harmony. I know it's like pushed as the bad number or whatever, but it's an angel number, and personally, I'm not buying into that whole number of the beast thing or whatever. Like, when I think of the beast, I think of strength, the strength card in tarot, and that's about balance and taming that inner beast and having harmony with the shadow aspect of yourself. So you could be doing shadow work at this time. Let's get one more card for the clarification. Knight of Cups. So you're on a new journey and it's stirring up new emotions. So don't be afraid to sit with those emotions and really dive in and go deeper with yourself. And that's just going to make you stronger, or who knows what you'll find underneath the surface. There's always more to the story, and sometimes it's relevant, sometimes it's not relevant, but sometimes that's where the key is, you know? Keys could also be significant. Okay, so that's the tarot. We're already getting a little bit long with this message. I know the beginning was a little scattered. Sorry. But we're going to go ahead and do some cat oracle. I didn't bring the guidebook, and I'm not super familiar with this oracle deck, but we're just going to read it intuitively for today and see how it resonates with the reading so far. I think this oracle is fun and relevant. It has the full moon with cat energy representing that kind of Leo aspect. So I was really drawn to this deck today. So we'll close out with this. But thank you for coming and joining me in this little spot, my little secret spot, even though that guy knows there's a camera over there somewhere. But angels, go ahead and please give us a closing message for this reading. Something to wrap it all up with a little bow, or to put a cherry on top of that sundae. Okay. One more shuffle. Let's go. Actually, Spirit's saying let's take it. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, angels. Goddess. So you're in your goddess energy. It could be an empress energy right now. People could see you that way, even if you feel like things are a little shaky or you're on some new ground. You're killing it. Like, don't be afraid to be confident. And like, I'm a Capricorn, and Capricorns are known for being overconfident, and I personally put my foot in my mouth sometimes, to be honest. But don't let anything like that hold you back. And if anything, like, we're all wrong sometimes. So even if you get a little too confident, like, reel it in, kind of humble yourself if you need to. But at the same time, like, people are proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself. Let's see what the shadow cat is. Polydactyl. So that paw is insane. Polydactyl is like this little paw with the extra digits. That's what that's referring to. So There's some interesting books that this man is reading. The cat is also sitting on a typewriter, so you could be writing at this time or feeling called to journal or maybe even write a book. Spirit's encouraging you to go ahead and do that. I recently picked up from a local library, one of them, a book that's called A Year of Writing Dangerously, and it's just 365 different writing prompts. I found a lot of joy in that recently, so you could be called to maybe pick up a book like that, or, I mean, if you're here watching me, you probably have access to the internet, so you could always look up different writing prompts, and you don't have to use AI, and I would encourage you not to. So, there's that. But Polydactyl is also a card that's maybe even suggesting that what's coming through is like the way that you do things is unique, and there are many ways to achieve your goals or specific goal, and you don't have to do it by the book. Like, you don't have to do everything the way that you're supposed to. Like, where's the fun in that? We all have free will, right? Like, use it. Like, have a little fun. Be a little freak. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this reading in this new space. We're gonna go ahead and close it out there. I do want to show you the view. It's really nice seeing all the city in the background and the buildings, in the sky. There's a nice ombre. Silhouettes could be significant. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me for this kind of full moon-y energy. And I wish you the best of luck on this journey. And if you're integrating some new ideas or working with some specific energies and you want to share that, feel free to put that in the comments, and I'd love to read about it. Anyway, take care.